My name is Mika, and I really like books. For today, it's about this latest book that I read. It's Daisy Jones and the Six. So, quick backstory. I've always liked reading books nung high school. Kaya ako gumawa ng little parang book club in this small corner of YouTube. It's just something that I like. I like reading books. So, kung ibabash nyo ako, please just get out of my channel. The very first thing that I have to do is to give a summary, kind of discuss the main characters, the main conflict, and then the main question. I'll kind of read the introduction na nilagay dito sa may book mismo ng author. So the introduction goes, Daisy is a girl coming of age in LA in the late 60s, sneaking into clubs on the Sunset Strip, sleeping with rock stars, and dreaming of singing at the Whiskey A Go-Go. The sex and drugs are thrilling, but it's the rock and roll she loves most. By the time that she's 20, her voice is getting noticed, and she has a kind of heedless beauty that makes people do crazy things. Also getting noticed is the Six, a band led by the brooding Billy Dunn. On the eve of their first tour, his girlfriend Camilla finds out she's pregnant, and with the pressure of impending fatherhood and fame, Billy goes a little wild on the road. Daisy and Billy cross paths when a producer realizes that the key to supercharged success is to put the two together. What happens next will become the stuff of legend. So, ang main characters talaga natin dito sa book is si Daisy Jones and Billy Dunn. So, si Daisy Jones is this upcoming rock star, and then si Billy Dunn is kind of also the same thing as Daisy Jones. And ang pinagkaiba lang is si Billy meron siyang banda, and then si Daisy sumama siya kay Billy. Okay, describe your overall opinion. The review pala. Did I like the book? I really like the book. But I only started liking it when I was like 3/5 of the book done. Nung una, hindi ko siya nagugustuhan. Kasi alam niyo yung feeling na 'pag nakakapanood tayo ng artista, kunwari, kung sino mang artista, whether Hollywood or local siya, 'pag pinapanood ko kasi sila, naiisip ko gusto ko maging gano'n. Parang ang sarap-sarap ng buhay nila, or maski yung mga athlete, anyone famous, you want to be like them, 'di ba? Pero nung binasa ko yung libro and namulat ako, lalim na, namulat ako dun sa buhay nung mga celebrities or nung mga rock stars, parang naisip ko, hindi ko yan pala gusto maging rockstar ng gano'n. Kasi there are unglamorous things about the lifestyle na hindi nila pinapakita sa atin. Tinatago nila behind the scenes. And that's something actually that made me interested about the book. It wasn't as perfect as the media paints it. Parang nakita ko na ang pangit din pala ng buhay ng mga taong to. Nakita ko how lives that we think are something that we want might not be the lives that we want for ourselves. My overall opinion, I like the book. As always, the author's writing is so good na nung binasa ko, even though I didn't like the first couple of parts of the book, na-visualize ko agad yung libro. And I was transported to Daisy and Billy's world. Magaling talaga siya magsulat, guys. Discuss the cons. It's not really a con, pero this book was structured na parang interview style. Hindi siya yung libro na babasahin mo in the structure of a book. Babasahin mo siya nang parang nagbabasa ka ng script ng dalawang taong nag-uusap, kasi interview yung parang style ng libro. Discuss potentially offensive content. So this will be easy. They talked about sex, they talked about drugs, a lot of drugs. They talked about violence, the cost of fame. Kung tatanungin niyo ako, will you give this to younger kids? I might not want younger kids to read it. Pero kasi kapag sinabi mo yun, mas gugustuhin ng mga batang panoorin yun or basahin yun di ba? Kasi medyo interesting siya. It's kind of like Euphoria, mas lighter naman siya than Euphoria, pero it's also a dark book. Discuss the pros. The pros, again, excellent world building by the author, excellent characters. hindi sila perfect. I hate perfect characters, guys. Hindi ako makarelate. Makikita mo na these people are people. Even though they're just characters and makaka-relate ka, it's like kung gusto mo sila maging friends. Parang ganun. So the next part of what we'll do in this video is to discuss a bit of the topics and questions na nakalagay dito sa libro, sa pinakadulo kasi, para for a book club. The very first question for discussion is, this book is really written in an oral history format. Why do you think the author chose to structure the book this way? And how does this approach affect your reading experience? I think the author chose to structure yung book in an interview format kasi it made it more interesting. I don't want to spoil anyone kasi yung interview format, yun yung rason kung bakit ko nagustuhan yung libro. And it's so weird kasi yun din yung rason nung una kung bakit ayaw ko yung libro. Basta sa huli yung magigets, it put everything off kilter. You're a third party to the experience, and that's something that I really like. And how does this approach affect your reading experience? Ayun, you feel like you're not part of the experience. Alam niyo ba yung mga nasa may movies, yung mga tao nakatayo lang sa gilid, tapos panonoorin niyo yung mga actors, actresses, whoever famous person. That's what the oral history format feels like. Parang ganun. The second question is, at one point, Daisy says, okay, ito may excerpt na. I was just supposed to be the inspiration for some man's great idea. And I had absolutely no interest in being somebody else's muse. How does her experience of being used by others contribute to the decision she makes when she joins the Six? There was a point in the book, don't worry, hindi ko kayo spoil, na si Daisy, she's this really beautiful woman kasi. And meron siyang mga ideas na sobrang galing, even though it's raw. Hindi pa siya yung perfect ideas na sobrang husay. So, it's still a bit raw, pero pag narinig ng mga lalaki or men in general in the world of Daisy Jones and the Six, gagamitin nila yon, they'll capitalize on it, and then sila yung sisikat. Syempre, kung ikaw si Daisy Jones, mabibwisit ka, diba? Because ikaw, ginagawa ka lang nilang parang source. And then ikaw naman, capable ka eh. Capable ka to also be like that, but the only difference is, ikaw, babae ka. So, yung experience niya, ng pagiging gano'n, ang dami kasi niya na-experience na gano'n, ng mga lalaki, gagamitin yung mga idea niya. So, nung sumali siya sa the band nila, Billy, dun sa may The Six, ang ginawa niya, hindi siya lang naging yung muse ng banda. Diba, minsan kapag maganda ka, isipin lang ng mga tao, hindi maganda lang yan eh. And that's the only thing that those people will look at you as. Maganda ka lang. Hindi ka pwede maging iba. And I really like that Daisy didn't let that happen nung nag-join siya sa band. Kasi si Billy, he's very domineering. Kung ano yung gusto niya, yun yung masusunod. The usual guy leader trope. Si Daisy, she tried her hardest to pitch her ideas kay Billy even though he didn't like it. Mag-aaway pa nga sila dun sa libro. And that's something that I like. Whether or not her ideas were accepted positively by the band or anyone there, and kung parang fino-force siya to be in this box na maganda lang siya, sex symbol siya kasi nasa rock and roll band siya, hindi niya hinaan yun. Kasi she got so fed up of being put into that box of just being that. So gusto niya, capable siya, maganda siya, magaling siyang musikera, basta everything, she did that. Kasi napagod na siya na maging muse lang ng iba. Gusto niya to get into the role of being someone that leads. The third question is, why do you think Billy has such a strong need to control the group? Both early on when they are simply the Dunn brothers and later when they become Daisy Jones and the Six. This one, I am not so sure about. Meron dun kasi sa libro, Billy and his brother Graham, they grew up in a broken family. Hindi together yung parents nila nung lumaki sila, their dad left them. So I think that's the reason why Billy had such a strong need para i-control yung situation kasi wala siyang father figure na nag-control sa buhay niya nung bata siya. Walang nagsabi na kung ano yung kailangan niyang gawin. So, he had to take that role kasi siguro naramdaman niya how it is to be helpless nung bata ka and you don't know what you're doing. Kasi nga, di ba, sa YouTube, merong ang YouTube channel of this guy who didn't have a father. Exactly yun. Who didn't have a father. Gumawa siya ng YouTube channel about, ano yun? Dad, how do I? Parang ganon. Kasi walang nagturo sa kanya. And I think Billy, pareha sila nun, ng lalaking yun. He wanted to be the father of a group. The fourth question is, there are two sets of brothers in the six. Eddie and Pete Loving, and Billy and Graham Dunn. How do these sibling relationships affect the band? Si Eddie and Pete, ang pinagkaiba nila dun sa kabilang magkuya is, si Eddie and Pete, hindi sila nag-force ng each other to be certain ways. Parang nakikita nila na equal sila sa isa't isa. Si Billy and Graham, it's not like that. The dynamic is different. Kasi si Billy, nakikita ni Graham na he is much better than he is. Affect yung band because si Billy and Graham, usually si Billy nasusunod. Si Eddie and Pete, wala silang masyadong ginagawa. So, mas relax sila compared to the other set of brothers. The fifth question naman, Daisy, Camilla, Simone, and Karen are each very different embodiments of female strength and creativity. Who are you most drawn to? The one that I was drawn to the most was Camilla. So si Camilla yung asawa ni Billy Dunn. Si Daisy kasi, tsaka si Billy, sa libro, when they're collaborating, of course, nagkakadevelopan sila. And si Camilla as his wife, that was hard. That's why I think I disliked yung first few parts ng libro because I found it so unfair for Camilla. Kasi sa kanya ako pinaka nakaka-relate and ang hirap. I was drawn to her the most kasi out of the four na babaeng characters, siya yung pinaka-strong sa kanila in the sense that, biruin mo yun, alam mo yung asawa mo may gusto sa iba and then you still choose to love him. You have to be a certain type of woman. It's not about being stupid. It's about telling the world na hindi, gusto ko to, asawa ko yan, gusto ko, kompleto pamilya ko, walang mangingialam. And she's like that, Camilla. Pag may pinaniwalaan siya, hindi mo siya matitibag. Parang ganon. And I really like that in a person kasi. The sixth question naman is, Billy and Daisy become polarizing figures for the band. Who in the book gravitates more toward Billy's leadership and who is more inclined to follow Daisy's way of doing things? How do these alliances change over time and how does this dynamic upset the group's balance? Dun sa banda, there are 7 people, Billy being yung lead singer na lalaki, Daisy being the lead singer na babae, Graham Dunn as the lead guitar, Warren Rhodes the drummer, Pete Loving the bassist, Eddie Loving the rhythm guitarist, and then Karen Circos the keyboardist. Si Billy, si Graham lang talaga yung talagang avid supporter niya. And then, kay Daisy, nandun si Warren, si Pete, tsaka si Karen. Tatlo yon. And then, yung isa, si Eddie, yung rhythm guitarist niya. Ayaw kasi kay Billy. So, usually, mas okay siya kay Daisy. So, ang nakikita natin, 4 na members nila nasa side ni Daisy. And then, yung isang member, yung kapatid, of course, ni Billy, nasa kanya, out of sheer loyalty. Gusto kasi nung 4 si Daisy because she brought the band into democratic group dynamic na kahit sino pwedeng magsabi ng mga ideas nila and then papakinggan sila. Nung wala pa kasi siya, talagang si Billy lang ang nasusunod. Parang his way or the highway. It was like habang tumatagal, they all shifted to Daisy's way of doing things, of making everyone have a say in the group. And then that affected the dynamic because suddenly, everyone had a say. Versus nung si Billy lang ang nagli-lead, siya lang ang nasusunod. And then, na-upset yung group balance because before, it was simple. Susunod lang sila kay Billy. Nung nagkaroon ng Daisy sa picture, gumulo. Nagkaroon ng aaway, nag-disband sila. So, that's not a spoiler. Part talaga siya ng libro. How this famous band grew from the top record-selling band to a band disbanded in the future, ganun. So, na-upset yung dynamic. Parang hindi naging sustainable. Kasi parang binigyan mo lahat sila ng reason to say something. So, yun yung nakita ko. The seventh question is, why do you think Billy and Daisy clash so strongly? And what misunderstandings between them are revealed through the author's investigation? Oh my God! I like this question. You know why nagka-clash sila? Kung bakit sila nag-aaway all the time? Because they're the same. They're exactly the same person. So, lahat ng ayaw mo sa sarili mo, nakikita mo dun sa kausap mo, nabibwisit ka kasi parehas kayo eh. Versus sa, kunwari, sa dynamic niya with Camila, hindi sila nag-aaway as much. Kasi, in a way, they're opposites. So, hindi sila magka-clash at all. Nagko-complement sila. Daisy and si Billy, meron actually excerpt yan sa libro. I just don't remember the exact words for it. Sabi nung si Karen nata yun, your soulmate is not the person that you're exactly the same. Kasi dapat nagko-complement kayo, hindi kayo parehas. Parang hindi kayo mag-grow. Yun yung reason kung ba't sila away ng away. And what misunderstandings between them are revealed a lot of times, pag nag-uusap sila, pag may sinasabi si Daisy, talagang sasabihin ni Billy dun sa may libro, hindi niya yun sinabi. Hindi daw niya yun minin. Or, kunwari, merong nararamdaman si Daisy, sasabihin niya, in that moment, feeling ko, mahal niya ako. Sasabihin ni Billy, he would say na hindi niya yun naramdaman. Dine-deny niya yun. Some of the misunderstandings that they had was hidden a lot. Hindi sila nagko-communicate. Pero kasi naman, paano kayo magko-communicate? Kasal na yung isa. And you know what? For the people who are watching, please, kung kasal na kayo, huwag nyo naman gawin yun. Kasi that's why I was so biased towards Camila. Kasi sobrang hirap to na nung position niya. Para to know someone who's on the road, your husband is there with that person every day. That they develop sila and then you still choose to be with him. The eighth question is, what do you think of Camilla's decision to stand by Billy despite the ways that he has hurt her through his trouble with addiction and wavering faithfulness? How would you describe the relationship and how does it differ from Billy and Daisy's relationship? Camilla's decision to stand by Billy. In some ways, it's stupid and in some ways, it's respectable. Kasi number one, it's stupid because you're putting yourself through a situation na sinasaktan mo sarili mo. And that made me really angry. Kasi ang dami-daming tao sa mundong to na mamahalin ka and then you still chose to be with someone who is hurting you and alam niya na ginagawa niya yun. And that made me really mad. Respectable because she's a wife and a mom. And she can't decide lang on her own. She had to think about keeping her family together. And I respected her for doing that. Kasi even though nahihirapan siya, kinailangan niya yun gawin. She had to do something that hurt her and something that she didn't like to keep their family together. I don't necessarily agree with it, pero I respect it kasi hindi ko yun kayang gawin. I think yet. Kung may mananakit sa akin, I would rather just find someone who would respect me and love me the same way that I do to him. Pero, yung doon, exactly, with yung trouble ni Billy sa addiction niya, and sa wavering faithfulness niya, that's really hard. Kasi nung binabasa ko yung libro, ramdam ko yung hirap ni Camila while she was going through it. This was something that I learned, no? Kasi yung pagmamahal ni Billy tsaka ni Daisy was a certain type of love. Kasi yung love ni Billy tsaka ni Daisy is the kind of love that doesn't last long. Kasi masisira ka with that kind of love. Compared to sa love ni Billy and ni Camila na quiet and stable, it lasted a lifetime until she passed away. And that's the difference between yung pagmamahal ni Billy and Daisy and ni Billy and ni Camila. Mas matagal yung kina Camila, even though it was less passionate. Kina Billy and Daisy, super passionate. Lahat ng chemistry nandun. And that's something na matagal ko nang iniisip is what kind of love does a person really want? Yung isa ba or the other? And it's hard to tell someone there's this right type of love na ito lang dapat yung hahanapin mo kasi there are different types of relationships. Pero kung ako lang, I would much rather have Billy and Camilla's relationship. It was secure and it was stable and it was quiet. Sigurado ka. It wasn't boring. They also had fun times. Ang tanggalin niyo yung lack of faithfulness ni Billy, pati yung addiction niya. I'd be totally fine with that kind of relationship. So the 9th question is, Camilla says about Daisy and Billy, the two of you think you're lost souls, but you're what everybody is looking for. What does she mean by this? You want someone like Daisy or Billy on your side. You know, you think that, kasi yung dalawa, they think that they're irreparable. They're not something that you can fix. They're the type of people that don't deserve the type of love that Camilla gives. They think that way about themselves. So, nung sinabi ni Camilla na sila yung hinahanap ng mga tao, because Daisy and Billy together are dynamite. Para silang sasabog na lang. Pero, kasi there are times na pag silang dalawa lang, and iisipin mo na wala si Camilla sa picture, and hindi sila nagda-drugs, and hindi sila rockstars, they're perfect together. The way Billy and Daisy would look at each other, parang yun yung gusto mong ma-feel. Kasi ikaw lang yung tao sa mundo. And wala silang nakikitang iba. And you would want that for yourself. Yun yung hinahanap mo. Na someone will make you feel so special na even though nasa stadium kayo and everyone's cheering for your name, ikaw lang nakikita niya. Kasi I think she was just saying that even though she's so screwed up, si Billy tsaka si Daisy, they deserve that type of love, the secure type. The question number 10 is, as you read the lyrics to Aurora, are there any songs or passages that lead you to believe Daisy or Billy was intimating things within their work that they wouldn't admit to each other or themselves? Yes! So they're rock stars. Naturally, gagawa sila ng mga kanta. If you read all of the lyrics of their songs, it's so obvious that they were in love with each other. Kasi lahat ng kanta nila was pinapaalam nila sa sobrang daming tao, including Camilla and their families, that they were in love with each other. And they just denied it. And everyone knew about it. Even the Aurora. Aurora is a song that Billy supposedly sang for Camilla. He said that sinulat niya yon for Camilla. But when I read it, I also saw that his love for Daisy applied to that song. I think all of the songs that they wrote were for each other. None of them were for Camilla. The 11th question naman is, what do you think of Karen's decision about her pregnancy and Graham's reaction to the news? What part do gender roles play in their situation? Si Karen kasi yung keyboardist nila sa banda, and si Graham yung kapatid ni Billy. And then they kind of had a thing, and nabuntis si Karen. When Karen found out that she was pregnant, she was not happy. Graham was very happy about the news kasi si Graham gusto niya magkaroon na ng pamilya. Si Karen, she did not want to be pregnant because of her career. So what part do gender roles play in their situation? A huge part. You know why? Kasi kapag babae ka and then nabuntis ka, you're going to have to take a maternity leave off of your job. And if your whole life is about your job, you're gonna think that being pregnant is something that you don't want, that it's getting in the way. And that's what happened with Karen. Inisip kasi niya that she wasn't meant to be a mother. It's not something that she wanted to be. Si Graham, he wanted to be a dad. He wanted to be a husband. So he was happy. And alam niyo, in a way, nakita ko, si Graham, he said that they should have the baby, but he also had the privilege of staying in the band. Even if buntis na yung girlfriend niya, he can still go through with his life. Si Karen, she had to take off some time kasi paano siya magtutour, buntis nga siya. The gender roles of being a woman and a man in the situation ng dalawa played a huge role in it. The 12th is, were you surprised to discover who the author was? And how did you react to learning the author's reason for writing this book? Exactly why I said the very first question, why I like the interview structure of the book. I was surprised 100% nung nalaman ko kung sino yung nagsusulat nun. Nangilapot pa nga ako eh. And that was the That was the point kung bakit ko siya nagustuhan. The same effect that yung Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it's the same effect. Nang nalapot din ako and I really liked it. I didn't understand what the author, si Taylor Reid, was doing, kung bakit ganun ang ginawa niya, and then I understood it. And then, how did you react to learning the author's reason for writing this book? I absolutely liked it. I understood bakit ginawa niya yun. And kung bakit, yun yung mga tanong na tinatanong niya. Kasi kung ako din yun din ang mga gusto kong malaman. Kung ako siya. 13th question. What role does the reliability of memory play in the novel? Were there instances in which you believed one person's account of an event more than another? And what does the author mean when she states at the beginning that truth often lies unclaimed? I feel like masasagot ko yung first 2 questions, and then the third one, I'm gonna leave it up to dun sa mga magbabasa ng libro and who'll watch my video. Kasi I also don't know what she meant when she said the truth often lies unclaimed in the middle nung binasa ko yun. So please, if you're watching this, comment nyo na lang. It's not a call to action. Hindi ko talaga maintindihan kung ba't nyo yun sinabi. Pero what role does the reliability of memory play? It plays a huge role. Kasi gaya ng sabi ko, madami sa kanila, iba-iba yung naalala about a certain situation. So, I really like that. Hindi ko alam kung sino yung nagsasabi ng totoo and sino yung nagsasabi ng lie. Second to the last question is, what did you think of the songs written by Daisy Jones and the Six, and how did you imagine they would sound? The songs written are painful. I feel like I would like those songs kung meron akong tao na hindi pwedeng mahalin. Yun yung kind of songs that they wanted. And if I imagined how they would sound like, it was like very rock and roll, pero also reminds me of, parang okay, i-combine mo ang the script tsaka ang, ano yun, the Arctic Monkeys. Kind of like that. I believe those songs would be like that. Then the last question for this video is, if you are old enough to have your own memories of the 1970s, do you feel the author captured the time period well? And if you didn't experience the 70s yourself, what did this fictional depiction of the time evoke for you? I am not old enough kasi 1997 ako pinanganak. So, 27 years, almost 30 years na hindi ko alam kung ano nangyayari nung 70s. Pero the fictional depiction of the time evoked a fun time, rock and roll, and very American. Ganon. You know how rock and roll should be? Sex, booze, drugs. That's what the 70s was depicted like dun sa may libro, and then it evoked like a lot of fun and a lot of chaos at the same time. And if you ask me, was the book able to make me feel that? Yes, that's why I was very scared of the book nung first 3 parts, parang ganun. I think that's it. Again, for the most part, if you're going to ask me, I think ang tagal-tagal ko nang nagsasalita about the book. Should you read it? Yes, read the book. You would like it. Ang galing na author ni Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really like how she writes things, and yung mga stories na ginagawa niya for people to read and consume, I like them because I haven't been through them. And if it's something that a lot of people would like, please comment kung ano yung mga naisip nyo dun sa 15 questions. I'd also like to know kasi what other people think about the book. I don't know a lot of people who like reading. Yun lang, I'm gonna end it here. I've been talking way too much and I wanna drink, and I can smell the food na kakainin namin for dinner. Yun lang, guys. Mamaya na, I think meron pa akong madaming libro na pwedeng i-review that also has book discussions, and I think I'm going to enjoy them. Thank you guys for letting me do this kasi I enjoy it and have fun. So, like gaya nga sabi ng Daisy Jones and the Six, just have fun and to rock and roll. Bye!